Joe Gibbs Racing reshuffles ahead of the playoffs, and a Truck Series championship contender just got hit with a pretty big penalty. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove Midweek Edition. We've got lots to get to, but first, this episode is sponsored by Pristine Auction. PristineAuction.com is the premier destination for sports memorabilia and collectibles auctions. You can bid on a wide range of items starting at just $1, including thousands of signed pieces from your favorite athletes. What's more, every item sold on PristineAuction.com comes with a certificate of authenticity from the industry's most reputable authenticators. Whether you're a NASCAR fan or a collector of all things sports related, Pristine Auction is your go-to source for quality memorabilia. And I know many of you have already taken advantage of this special offer, but if you use registration code GROOVE, you'll get $10 off your first item one. Don't miss out on a great chance to upgrade your collection today. Head to pristineauction.com. Again, use registration code GROOVE for $10 off your first win. Thank you to Pristine for sponsoring this episode. Also, real quick, just uploaded a new episode of Power Hour, my podcast I host alongside Brennan Poole. It's available on all major audio platforms. This week's guest was Sam Mayer, perhaps the hottest driver in the NASCAR Xfinity Series right now. Covered a lot of ground in that episode. I highly encourage you to go check it out. Okay, that's it for announcements. Let's get to the news. Let's begin with the Craftsman Truck Series, where this announcement from Matt DiBenedetto just slid across my X feed. DiBenedetto released a statement saying, "After careful consideration, I've decided not to return to Rackley War for the 2024 race season. I'm very thankful to have been a part of the team's tremendous growth over these 2 years. We've shared many accomplishments together, such as the team's first win, making the playoffs, 6 top 10s in a row, and much more. I'm thankful for the opportunity Rackley War, Curtis, Willie, Chevrolet, and all of our partners have given me these past 2 years and for believing in me. I'm looking forward to what the future holds. As of right now, I don't have any 2024 plans, but I'm exploring all options in all series. Thank you to my dedicated and awesome fan base, as well as NASCAR and the whole industry for being able to make a career out of what I love." Signed, Matt DiBenedetto. The timing of this announcement in particular is very interesting. First and foremost, because it's kind of late in the game. I mean, August is almost over. September is right around the corner. We're nearing the end of the season, and I understand that Xfinity Series and Truck Series seats often get filled after the Cup Series seats get filled. Like, it's not uncommon for deals to be made well into the off season when we're talking about trucks and Xfinity. But still, it's fairly late in the year to announce suddenly that, hey, I'm on the market, I'm a free agent, willing to listen to any and all offers. So that part is interesting. The second reason the timing is interesting is Matt DiBenedetto's in the Craftsman Truck Series playoffs right now. Like, he and Rackley War, that 25 truck, they're competing for the championship as we speak. They're in the middle of the battle. To announce your impending departure now, I don't know, it feels like a blow to morale. I wonder if Matt DiBenedetto does have some leads. Maybe there's some disagreement, some conflict within the 25 team. I'm just not sure why Matt DiBenedetto would leave a stable situation if he didn't have something else already lined up. Very interesting announcement. I have no idea where Matt DiBenedetto may end up. I think he's one of the better drivers in the Craftsman Truck Series. I think if he went to the Xfinity Series, he'd be one of the best drivers in the Xfinity Series as well. The guy made the Cup Series playoffs for the Wood Brothers just a few years ago. He wasn't amazing by any means. You could argue he's slightly underwhelmed, but he also raced during the pandemic when there were very few practice sessions. Matt DiBenedetto is a solid race car driver. I hope he finds a quality full-time opportunity somewhere. Speaking of the Craftsman Truck Series playoffs, NASCAR just handed Ty Majeski's number 98 Thor Sport team a pretty significant penalty. You'll remember that a few weeks ago, Ty Majeski won the playoff opener at IRP, but then this most recent weekend, he was faced with controversy almost immediately upon entering his home state of Wisconsin. During pre-race inspection at the Milwaukee Mile, NASCAR officials confiscated Ty Majeski's right rear tire. His crew chief, Joe Shear, was ejected immediately. Ty Majeski was not allowed to make a qualifying lap at the start of the race. He had to start at the rear of the field and serve a pass-through penalty. He recovered well, though, and still finished 7th. After the race, Carson Hocevar, who finished 2nd, made this somewhat snarky comment to the media. He said, quote, "The 98 finally got their superpower taken away, and now we can all race again." So the 98 team for sure got caught with something. NASCAR yesterday in their official penalty report handed down significant penalties. Ty Majeski and the 98 team have been docked 75 driver and 75 owner points. They'll also have to deal with the loss now of 5 playoff points, and crew chief Joe Shear has been suspended the next 4 races and fined $25,000. NASCAR officials cited the wheel, tires, and wheel assembly portion of the rulebook, specifically the passage that talks about valve stems. NASCAR has been more transparent recently, so I anticipate we will see the confiscated part on full display in the Truck Series garage before long. For now, we don't know exactly what the 98 team did wrong. They have not filed an appeal as of Wednesday afternoon. But we do know that NASCAR typically takes a really hard look at anything that has to do with the engines, the tires. So I'm not at all surprised that they handed down a pretty significant penalty. I think some are surprised, honestly, the penalty wasn't even bigger. I saw some industry speculation that NASCAR may, retroactively encumber Majeski's IRP win. The penalty NASCAR did hand out is significant, but it's not as significant as it initially appears. Like, the 75-point penalty means absolutely nothing. It's worthless. Majeski is already locked into the next round, and the points will reset. The loss of 5 playoff points, that is significant. I don't think it's earth-shattering, but sure, losing those points, that will affect Majeski in the next round. That is something. And then, of course, the 4-race suspension for the crew chief, that also hurts, although there's a lot that crew chiefs can do remotely now. It still stings. Joe Shear will be eligible to return at Phoenix. So if Majeski makes it to the championship, at least there he will have his main crew chief in person. So it certainly sounds like ThorSport were bending the rules. Maybe they were getting away with something. At least that's what Carson Hocevar appeared to be hinting at. NASCAR finally caught them. They handed them a significant penalty, not as big as some thought it might be, but significant nonetheless. Now let's move up to the Cup Series, where a couple of top teams have announced some major personnel swaps. Let's begin with Team Penske. Effective immediately for 2023 and 2024, Brian Wilson will serve as crew chief for Austin Cindric and the number 2 Team Penske Ford Mustang. Jeremy Bullins will serve as the crew chief for Harrison Burton and the number 21 Wood Brothers Ford Mustang. So a simple crew chief swap taking place between the 2 and the 21. The 21 is not a Team Penske car, but the Wood Brothers do have a close technical alliance with Penske. This change is effective immediately, but will carry over into 2024. And actually, Bob Pockers from Fox Sports also reported that the swap includes the car chiefs, engineers, and some of the mechanics. They will also be swapping teams as well. Honestly, good for Penske. Something had to be done. Both Austin Cindric and Harrison Burton have suffered through sophomore slumps this season. Austin Cindric last year won the Daytona 500, had 9 top 10s, made the playoffs. This season, he has 0 wins, 0 top 5s, and only 3 top 10s. Just missed the playoffs. Harrison Burton, we knew he'd be more of a work in progress when he got to the Cup Series, but man, only 2 top 10s this year. Doesn't have any top 5s or wins either. 30th in points. Something had to be done. Jeremy Bullins, who will now move from the 2 to the 21 car, was on SiriusXM NASCAR radio yesterday and said, quote, "Unfortunately, it's a results business. It's just one of those years where, for a number of different reasons, we weren't getting the results we needed to get. I look at the 21 bunch and same thing. There's flashes of brilliance, but they're not getting the finishes." Flashes of brilliance is, I think, being a bit generous. Maybe I'm coming off as really harsh, but I expect a lot more from Penske cars. I mean, Austin Cindric was an Xfinity Series champion not all that long ago. I expect more from him. I do. And even Harrison Burton, I was hoping to see a step forward this year. I know Penske as a whole organization has not been at the top of their game. I mean, Logano only has 1 win this year, trying to defend his championship. Blaney only has 1 win this year. He's only got 1 one win the past 2 years. Penske is not as good as Hendrick or Gibbs right now. I'll give them that, but they're better than 2 top 10s, 3 top 10s a year. They're better than that. And I'm glad Penske is finally making a swap. They needed to. I'm especially excited now for Austin Cindric because he will be reunited with Brian Wilson. Brian Wilson moving from the 21 to the 2. Brian Wilson and Austin Cindric worked together in the Xfinity Series, and together across 3 seasons, they won 13 total races and the 2020 Series Championship. I'm a huge fan of when teams do this, when they reunite young Cup Series drivers with crew chiefs they had success with in the lower ranks. I think that familiarity, there's a vibe there that I think just works. I'm sure you all can point to recent examples of, that kind of move not working super well, like, Luke Lambert following Noah Gragson to Legacy Motor Club this year didn't really make a huge difference. But I can always point to William Byron and Rudy Fugle reuniting recently. And look how both their careers have taken off, especially this season. So I'm a big fan of this. Hopefully Brian Wilson and Austin Cindric can find that spark, can get something going next year, because both Cindric and Burton, I don't want to say they're on the hot seat. I mean, Austin Cindric's father is, key executive at Team Penske. I don't know that he'll ever truly be on the hot seat, but both these guys need to step up. They need to show improvement next year, and maybe this crew chief swap will ignite something. I think we can only hope. It can't get much worse. Let me put it that way. Finally, let's talk Joe Gibbs Racing. 3 of the 4 JGR Toyotas qualified for the playoffs. Rookie Ty Gibbs came up just short. But yesterday, JGR announced they are swapping Christopher Bell and Ty Gibbs's pit crews, effective immediately beginning this weekend at Darlington, the first race of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. I've seen some fans voice their displeasure. They're not a fan of this move, and I get their concerns. We talk all the time about how NASCAR is a team sport. The driver, the crew chief, the pit crew, everyone. We're all in this together. The 20 team's been with Christopher Bell all year. They qualified for the playoffs as a unit and now are being moved onto a non-playoff car. So I do feel for Christopher Bell's pit crew, but at the end of the day, I get it. You have to look at this from an even bigger team's perspective. Joe Gibbs is a former football coach. He knows all about making hard decisions, making cuts, making roster moves when needed. Jeremy Bullen said it earlier. This is a performance-based business. And Christopher Bell's pit crew this year has not been as good as Ty Gibbs's, at least not consistently. Ty Gibbs's pit crew won the pit crew competition at North Wilkesboro this past spring. I was reading an NBC Sports article that cited Racing Insights where Ty Gibbs's pit crew is ranked 3rd. They have the 3rd fastest average 4-tire stop in the Cup Series this year. Christopher Bell's pit crew ranks 20th. 3rd versus 20th, that is a huge disparity. It's a tough business. Again, I feel for the 20 team. You've been riding with Christopher Bell all year. Together as a unit, you made the playoffs. It stings to now be moved off of that team. But Joe Gibbs is all about serving the greater Joe Gibbs Racing good. 3rd fastest pit crew versus the 20th fastest pit crew. Joe Gibbs is making an easy decision here. I mean, we saw last fall at Phoenix, Christopher Bell's championship hopes ended thanks to a bad late race pit stop. Maybe that's not fair because I think in that case there was a weird fluky technical issue with the gun, but still, every position matters that much more in September, October, November. I think Joe Gibbs is making the right call here. It's a tough decision, but it's the right decision. I apologize we didn't get to an out of the crowd segment today. It was a very full episode, but we will bring that segment back very, very soon. So leave a comment on this episode. Are you a fan of Joe Gibbs Racing's pit crew swap decision? How do you feel about Team Penske swapping crew chiefs? Where could Matt DiBenedetto end up? What about Ty Majeski? Have his championship hopes taken a major hit here? Let me know down in the comment section below. I appreciate y'all watching this video. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. If you're new to the channel and you love NASCAR, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. And as always, a huge thank you to my very generous Patreon supporters. I'll give you guys my official round by round NASCAR Cup Series playoff picks tomorrow. Again, be sure to listen to Power Hour, the latest episode with Sam Mayer. I will see you all again very, very soon. Thanks again for watching this episode, y'all.